So, there's something that has been plaguing my mind for a long time with gacha games. Why in the world limited character from day one is still limited, even after the game reaches, let's say, over 2 years old, when there's so many other limited characters have been released. Even for a game as old as the FGO, which they're going to reach a decade old in 2025, the characters still stay in a limited time banner, like Gilgamesh, the first limited time character in that game. Same can be said about Honkai Star Rail and even Genshin. Why can't Zilla, almost 2 years old character, is made into a permanent character? Why can't Venti, the first Archon, be made into a permanent character? Clearly, they have been out of the meta for a while now. I've been trying to think from a business point of view, does that harm their revenue? The only thing I can think of, maybe a tiny bit from the whale completionists, especially completionists that just want to collect all the characters with their full eidolons. But I think by making some of the limited character eventually becomes permanent, it will boost the overall positive perception about the game. At least that's in my opinion. Therefore, increases in reputations, and potentially more players are going to play the game, and eventually increase in the overall revenue. I don't know if Hoyoverse has some statistics regarding this, or they're just too afraid in experimenting, but from my perspective, there won't be any harm if they try to experiment a bit with their banner system a bit more and see how that affects the game. I did a quick community post, and the majority did agree that characters should eventually be available in the standard banner. So in this video, I'm going to list a couple of ideas of when I think it is safe to make a limited time character available in the permanent banner, and I will try to explain my reasoning on why, especially for bigger games like from Hoyoverse. Some of the smaller gacha game like Reverse 1999 have already implemented this system by adding them into permanent pool about 3 updates later, if not mistaken. And also I've heard some people mention Honkai Impact 3rd does have something similar. Some of the characters become permanent eventually. So if you think you have your own idea when a limited character should be added into the permanent banner, do let everyone know in the comment section and let's have a discussion. So far, Hoyoverse has been the industry standard for gacha games because they're huge. So if they refuse to do it, perhaps one of the other rising gacha companies like Kuro should do it so that Hoyo will also starts to do it. With especially Wuthering Waves is gaining popularity with Rinascita release. Anyway, here are some moments when limited time character should be available in the standard banner. The first one, when characters have been power crept. Right now in gacha games, especially in Honkai Star Rail, characters definitely have different power levels, where the new character tends to be stronger than the old ones. Many people have complained about this. But for average gacha games, most players only aiming for a single copy of the character at most, while some perhaps might bring them to second copy, in Hoyoverse getting eidolons too. And I would assume many players are focusing on getting new characters over getting eidolons. So once this character had been power crept, one way for most players able to buff their overall account is by having extra eidolons for their limited time characters. So at least with the extra eidolons, they can deal a little bit more extra damage or having more advantage in battle compared to the newer characters. So if the limited time characters are being added into the permanent banner, the players should be able to have a better chance to get eidolons to make the accounts a bit stronger. And there might be some people out there that already have all 7 copies of all the standard characters. That way, now they can pull for something new. And at least it makes sense that most players will not try to pull for old characters. They will always try to save for newer characters, except if they are completionists like me, for example. So because of that, it makes sense to add these characters into the standard banners once they are power crept. For example, Zilla, we haven't seen her banner for a long time, and I think it is about time for her to actually being put into the standard banner. First quantum character at that. The second reason is very related to the first reason, when they have no plans to buff the limited time characters. Hoyoverse is well known for almost never buffing their character directly, like increasing damage multiplier or adding more effects on character abilities, and many more kinds of buff. Instead, they either buff them by adding a new character, that buffs the old character mechanics. For example, like Sunday buffing Jing Yuan for Honkai Star Rail, or by adding new equipments like relics or weapons. If they really have no plans to buff any of the characters from any method mentioned above, I don't see the harm. Might as well put the characters into permanent banner so that the players could start collecting multiple copies of them. But if they do want to buff said characters, it makes sense just to keep them in limited a bit longer, which is just like how when Sunday was released, Jing Yuan was also featured in a separate banner. Third moments will be when characters have been out for a certain period of time. I think this should be a standard for all gacha games. After a certain period of time, or after they're getting multiple rerun banners, they should be added into permanent rosters. Once again, this is connected quite closely to the 2 points above. At some point, all characters will have been already power crept, and it is inevitable for that to happen. I know this might make them lose some revenue since Hoyoverse cannot take the advantage of phenomenon fear of missing out, because the players know that their characters will go to permanent banner eventually. But I still think that adding them into permanent roster, it is still overall healthier for the game. So in order for them not to lose too much advantage, and some players can still have a decent window in getting eidolons or multiple copies of the characters easier, because standard banner is totally random, they should make the timeline a bit long, like maybe over a year, and not too soon like Reverse 1999, which is after 3 updates. Because sometimes it takes forever for an old character to be featured in a banner. Like Genshin, for example, Shenhe was missing for a very long time. The last moment should be when they introduce a new character, type, or new element. This one is a bit more specific, like for example, when a new core mechanics is introduced, there should be at least one character that is added to the permanent banner, and Genshin has done a decent job with it by adding Tignari as the first Dendro permanent character. For Honkai Star Rail though, with the addition of new Path Remembrance, I believe there should be one gacha character added into the permanent banner so that we have all types available in the permanent banner, because Remembrance will be a core mechanics of the combat moving forward, and we don't count Trailblazer because they are technically a free character and sometimes they need to be used in different paths. For example, Aglaya. She will be the first premium 5-star Remembrance character for Honkai Star Rail. I think she should be limited for a while, maybe 2 to 3 patches, but she should be added into the permanent banner after that. So that way, players have a good chance to collect at least 5-star from all paths. So I want to cut it short here. I could talk more about this in more depths, but I decided to just keep this video short, so perhaps the discussion could be brought into the comment section instead. But before I go, I just want to ask for your kindness here. I recently got scammed and lost a bit of money, so if you could press the like and subscribe button, it will really help me recover financially, even by a tiny bit. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope this has become a decent food for thoughts, and hopefully more of us are aware about game design, and let's have discussion in the comment section. And if you agree that limited characters should be added into permanent banner, perhaps we can put this as a feedback in the next survey. Also, check out my latest video discussing about the black screen drama. Perhaps it can help you to give some insights about why that black screen thing even happened in the first place. That's it from me. Until the next video, stay sharp, gamers.
Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe!